Well, hello, hot stuff. I have got a little bit of a treat for you today. And by treat, I mean we're having a bit of an informal chat. I want to say I feel like I'm recording this a bit naked because all I've got on today is mascara. And if you're listening to the podcast, I actually have clothes on. I'm sitting in the conference room at work, but I don't have my face on. And it feels a bit weird. It is Melbourne Cup in Melbourne today. And I'm like, let's come into the office. Girlfriend's running an international company. International company. People are so funny. They're like, you having the public holiday off? And I'm like, no, I have an international company and my clients need me. And when I want to take time off, I take time off, even if that is just not coming into the office on a stand-up Wednesday. So I'm going to start by saying that if you are dragging yourself to holidays and public holidays, and if you are gagging for time off, ask yourself why. What is happening in your average workday that is exhausting you the fuck out, that is making you feel tired and burning you out? You are dragging yourself to have a public holiday. Guys, remember, this is your business. You set the standard, you pick the client. How things are playing out, everything is responding to how you are showing up in your business. And remember, you have picked entrepreneurship, hard way to make $1, okay? So you got to get through those grunt years. Give yourself 5 years to make this really fun and lush and sexy. I'm going to start by saying that. But anyway, so last night I have this thing where it's called like a big year tracker. And I was inputting all of my sales into this. So yes, we use Xero. This is just something that I kind of use for fun. I have mapped out where it's like, what would it look like to make $1 million in a year? And what I've done is I have put in my offers that I'm focusing on, and I can then track this, and I've got my little percentages. So I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Based on this goal, how many of GGE do you need to sell? How are you tracking? And if you're like, that sounds genius, it is. And you get all of these resources in Business Bang. So shameless plug for my own shit, because that program is fucking phenomenal. I will link that below. But I was tracking this last night because we are obviously in the thick of GGE launch. And what I had noticed is that we had our best sales revenue year. And I didn't even realize this. And because I know that I have been really on my business outgoing, so it's like what it costs to actually run my business, I'm like, we've had the most profit this year. Now, it is a little tricky because, partway through, I did have a bit of business restructure. So I'm looking at the total sales that I've made from January 1st until now. And, what was so interesting about this is this has happened in a year where I feel like that I've had like a lot of personal shit happen. I was sick for the whole of January. We actually had our best sales month in January. I think I had like a chest infection or something. I was not well. There's been like so many little hiccups that are happening. I'm renovating. I decided to like, let's take the podcast like more seriously. I'm pretty sure this was the year where we consistently went 2 episodes a week, but it is the year where I started to do video, which added a whole nother element. And what this meant is that I then moved from what I was doing in Professional Babe. I started to kind of do less in this business so I could put my energy elsewhere. So I have really done this effectively. I'm going to say part-time. Now, when I say part-time, I think my part-time hours are going to be very different to what someone else would classify part-time. So what we're going to talk about today is what changed, what I'm doing, how this is informing what I am going to do next year, what is working well, maybe some like little ahas for you to think about, and how this is like the perfect time to actually set up your next year, okay? We need to be starting to plan our 2026. If any of you are like, next year is going to be the best year in business, I have big growth goals, I have big profit goals, you can't just turn up, okay? You've got to do a bit of planning and you having an understanding of the results that you want, how things are going to look, and then creating a scaffold to make that happen. At a minimum, if you do not have already, buy my $35 offer because this actually teaches you how to plan the year ahead. It is phenomenal value. There is so much in there. You get actual like Notion tools and templates and spreadsheets. Alternatively, if you are like, no, I'm going to be the best entrepreneur I can be. I want your eyes on my business. I want you as my business advisor. Join Business Bang, okay? We limit the spots. We limit the businesses. It's application only, and I would love to see you win. So you've got 2 little call to actions there. So you can go and buy stuff as you're listening to this episode, or you can apply now. But anyway, so best year in business, best year in terms of sales revenue and profit. Now, this happened from a period that I was in this time last year where I found myself with no clients. So I had about 3 months off in my business. My clients either finished up working with me or they were pregnant or they were moving overseas. There was lots of things that were happening. And I was really lucky in the sense that I was very smart with how I had structured my business, that I had money put away and that I could pay my bills and pay myself and not stress. So that was wonderful. But what I got to do in this quiet period is really get clear on what is the kind of business I want, what are the kind of clients that I want to work with, what do I want to sell, and how is this going to shift my goal? And I played around with this idea of making $1 million with no ad spend and no team. Now, I want to say we are not at the $1 million mark. I am in a way far away, but in a way I am on track in so many ways. Like the results that I have had now have shown to me that I can easily do this, which is really, really exceptional. So when I look at what I've sold, the core of my offerings were business bang, consulting, and give good email. Okay. If I can break things up, that's what it looks like. Then I also have speaking and presenting and training. And then I've got my other little passive offers as well. So things like my $35 offer is in there. I've got my 10-day hot money challenge that I don't really talk about too much because again, would I rather make a small sale or would I rather make a business bang sale or would I rather make a consulting sale? Guys, I'm going to be so honest with you. I would rather sell a business bang than focus all my time on selling something that's $35. It's like if I happen to make a $35 offer, cool. It's like walking up the street getting a sexy little compliment. I love it. But for me to run my business really well and to cover my bills and pay myself, I'm going to focus on the big rocks. I'm going to focus on the stuff that is the highest transformation for you and the highest transformation for me. And that is why I've structured my business in this way. So you can think right now about your office suite and think about like the variety of products that you sell. Think about the most expensive thing and then the cheapest thing. And I want you to look at just the cheapest thing for a second, whatever it is, and think about like a big goal that you want to work towards. Even if it feels like it's really, really far in the future, and ask yourself, do I want to make $1 million selling something that's $35? Think about all of the work that is going to have to go into that. And guys, really like let this sink in. If you hate content and you hate social media and showing up relentlessly and marketing a fuck ton, really think if you want your income to come from low cost offers, because if you have picked a low cost, high volume model, you are always going to have to be on with content. And of course, you're always going to have to be on. You are going to have to market, but just really be conscious of the kind of business model that you have created for yourself. So what I had done is in this period last year, I had looked at what I was selling and it just really cemented to me that I want to focus on selling higher transformation offers. So things that are more expensive. So I think the turning point for me, it was really witnessing the kind of business that I wanted, the kind of clients that I wanted, and how I wanted to move myself into a more premium space. I loved the Alex Hormozi style model of people that, they have like a high amount of free content and then the clients they work with are at a premium. I didn't want to be known for like cheap transformation, like just go to Peter for this cheap shit little download. I wanted people to look at my business, I wanted them to look at Professional Babe, and I want them to think about premium. I want them to think quality. So you've got a bit of a backstory. Now I want to talk about how I actually did it. So let's look at this according to my goals process. And if you haven't already, make sure to do my hot business audit, where you actually can audit your goals process and see like what is letting you down in your business. I will link that below. But the first thing that I worked on is goals. And the goal that I worked towards is what would it look like to make $1 million in a year? Did I think that I could make $1 million in this year? Fuck, sure, I was open. Would it be a major, major, major jump from where we were? Yes. But for me, I don't want incremental growth because remember, when we look at small incremental growth, the only thing that we do is try to sell a bit more and be a bit more organized. But what I want you to think about is when we think about, like achieving these big milestones that we want, that is going to take a different way of thinking. Okay. You will make different moves in your business. You will make different like selling decisions. You'll even look at your offers and you'll package them up in different ways. So I went into this being like, let's plan for you to make $1 million this year. What would that look like? Now, when I got really clear on that goal, I then got to look at my life and how things wanted to look. So I looked at my week. I have clients from Tuesday to Thursday. I am pretty much on though every single day. My clients know I check Slack every day. Yes, unpopular opinion. I check it at nights. I check it at the weekend. But I have set things up with my clients where they know that I expect them to work and that I expect them to show up. I also am not a helicopter parent where I respond to people immediately. I will always keep my eye out for a crisis or if I know that a client is on and they need me. But for the most part, like I am checking it, but they also know that I am always not available. So what I mean by this is, just because it's 10 o'clock on Tuesday, my clients know that they can't reach me. They know I'll always get back to them. And because of that, I then can work within whatever energy that I have in my business. So there are times when I just need to have a morning off. I can't deal with anyone else except myself. And I'll usually come to work and I may go and have breakfast with my mom and I'll have a nice, easy, leisurely morning. I'll speak to some of my favorite people in the office and then I'll start my work day. And I will go and I will check Slack either later that afternoon or in the evening. So that really, really works for me. I found myself that if I was making myself be on, I didn't love this. Now, I want to say that just because this works for me, you may do something completely different. You may have hard boundaries about not being available on a weekend. You can do whatever you want. Remember, this is your business. I'm just telling you how I run mine. I don't do client calls on a weekend. When do I do consulting? It depends on the client. It depends on the work. And it also depends on what they're paying me. Like I am happy to do consulting at 10 o'clock at night if I'm getting paid really well for that. So again, this depends on how you want to structure your business. When I looked at my goal as well is in this part of the process, I really got even more clarity on what is the kind of business that you want, what is the kind of entrepreneur that you actually want to be. And I saw myself being at like a round table on a podcast, talking to Stephen Bartlett in a room with Daniel Priestley, maybe even Marie Forleo. Like I saw my business being at the stage where I know I can hold my own at the table with these people. I know that. Do I think that my online and my personal brand reflects that? No, I'm going to be so honest with you. I think that my brand and how things look, I think I have a beautiful website, but I think when it looks at social media and PR and things that I have, I do not think that we need to get better. And this is my goal for 2026. It's like, let's level up your personal brand to a point where people think that you are maybe like that you're not Alex Hormozy, you're not Cody Sanchez, but you are literally in that caliber, okay? That is where I want to be. So I had to get really clear on that. And that is why then this informed me taking the podcast more seriously, doing video, getting a hotel room or coming in on the weekend so I could record in this beautiful conference room. I don't pay for this. If I had to hire this within work hours, it is crazy expensive. So for that reason, I sacrificed my weekends. So, I am building up my personal brand in that process. I also, in this, I looked at who I wanted to become. I looked at my identity and I got really clear on like, what is the goal that we're working towards? So that's stage one. Then when we look at stage two, offers. So this is really like your offers, products and services. So what you sell. So when I looked at $1 Million a Year Peter, I was like, how do I want to make $1 million? What is really fun with this is you can go through your whole offer suite and you could be like, do I want to make $1 million selling this? Do I want to make $1 million selling this? And if none of those feel exciting, or if you're like, yes, that feels great. Yes, that feels great. That's a good sign. But if nothing in your business feels exciting, that is a sign to you that you need to change your business model or you need to look at your business. Because, and really like make this connection. If you get busy or people want more of you and you get pissed off, that is a sign that you cannot grow doing what you are doing now. There is something that is off with it. It's either the price, it's either how you're running it, or maybe you are just like, I need to graduate to this next level in my business. So quite often when clients work with me, they move from being behind the scenes in someone's business or very much on the tools into their consulting era. They have worked out that they have already clocked their 10,000 hours, that they are an expert and they want to be paid like an expert and seen like an expert. So maybe for you, that is you moving into that era. When I looked at my business and I was like, would I want to make $1 million a year selling Business Bang? I'm like, yes. Would I want to make it selling GG? Yes. Would I want to do consulting? Yes, but it'd have to be the right work. Okay, cool. Guess what I got to do then? I got to restructure those offers. Would I want to make it selling my $35 offer? No. Okay, cool. Guess what we do? We link it in the podcast. We don't link it on the website. And because of that, these were the offers that I positioned. So when I got really clear on that, the first thing that I went and did is I actually built out the Business Bang sales page. So believe it or not, Business Bang actually wasn't on the website up until recently. This time last year, it was not on the website. It lived in Notion. It was a Notion document. So I have released courses before where they were a Google Doc. So the sales page lived in Google. So if you're like, I can't make money without having a website, like you can, you have to rely on your personality bit and your sales skills. But for me, I was like, okay, this program is validated. We've got great clients in, we've got great businesses in. I need to put this on my website and this is what I want to start to be known for. So I did that. So I took some things down on my website. I positioned the services. So when you go through, you are presented with high transformation products. You see that I have Business Bang. You see I have Give Good Email. You see that I do like consulting and advisory for companies and founders. And that's what I'm known for. I'm not positioning anything that is cheap because when you look at my work, I want you to be like, oh shit, she's serious and she works with serious businesses. And you can see here how me getting clarity on my goals then informed what was happening next. So then what I did from that is I used my big year tracker and I put that in and I input in some goals. And even though I was like, it's going to be a stretch for you to make $1 million this year, I was like, well, why don't we just work towards it anyway? And then if it takes us 2 or 3 years, like so be it. But you already had that plan in place from the start. So I planned that out and I worked out what this looked like. And then from that, this informed the next category, which is lead generation and visibility. So how I actually needed to show up in my business. Now, this year, I wanted to do something different. I did my from the archives. So I went back to the archives. I remastered a lot of the live workshops. This gave me something to talk about. This gave me new eyeballs. We had like a lot of new people come through in this time. Transparently, I did do Facebook ads, I think for maybe 2 or 3 of them. I spent in total on the ads under $1,000 on all of them. So that was my ad spend for the whole year was under $1,000. Was it successful? I don't really know what the fuck I'm doing. So I can't actually answer that question. But my ideal customer was seeing my ads. So I'm going to take that as like a huge win. But this would be something I will say, if I wanted to keep doing ads, would I outsource it? No. I would bring it in-house, learn it and understand it. And then if I wanted to outsource, and this is a huge thing. If you really want to be the CEO of your business and you want to be in this like founder that sees yourself doing this big business, you can't just outsource things because you don't understand them. Because then if you realize that you have paid people and they've done a really shit job, it's actually not their fault, it's your fault. It is your fault because you don't have the understanding to know if work is good or bad. So if you are outsourcing something and you have no frame of reference of that, then that's on you. It's not on the people that are doing it. It's on your job to run your business like a business and to look after it. And if you haven't upskilled enough to learn this, then it's no one else's fault except yourself. Okay. So you have to direct the blame to the person that you have to blame, which is you. And I know that that may be some hard advice to hear. I see this all the time in email marketing where people are like, I paid this agency all this money and I didn't know that it wasn't working well. You have to upskill in business, okay? Peter Sarah's tip of the day. Upskill in everything. I don't care if it's your bookkeeping, your accounting. You have to know how this works before you outsource it. No victimhood. There is no time for victimhood in business. Because remember, at the end of the day, the only person that gets bitten in the ass is you. You're the person with the tax bill. You're the person that's outlaid all of this money and it hasn't worked out. And I know that that may seem harsh. I'm happy for you to be angry at me and your business to benefit. Okay, cool. Let's come back. So what I did with my visibility is I started to record more content. And this has probably been in the last, I would say 6 weeks. So I'm doing more on TikTok. I feel my content quality is better. We are in GGE launch at the moment and I am really repurposing a lot of my content, but this is going to be something next year I really want to focus on. And potentially it's going to be an outlay that I'm going to do in business. So I would love to have access to a creative to help me with content and do content more regularly. So that is going to be part of my visibility strategy. But again, I would say it was the podcast, it was the workshops, and it was showing up on content, and it was also I'm going to call them my little unofficial advocates. So my little street team of people, of happy clients or people that follow my work that talk about me to anyone that basically listens. If that is you, thank you. I love you so much. I truly, truly mean that. Thank you so much. That is something that I think that we all should aim for. You know, it's like we only have so many hours in the day to create content, to show up and do all of the things. If you have happy clients, if you have people that love your work, allow them to kind of help your work be visible by them talking about what you are doing. And where I think this worked really, really well for me was me getting more clear on my body of work and really working out like what I stand for. The podcast has helped with that. So after that, then the last thing I did was sales. Now for me, where do I sell? I proactively sell using my email data. I sell a lot on email. You know, recently we've had the waitlist launch of GGE. The waitlist converted at 25%, which is absolutely phenomenal. I will proactively use my email data to contact people. So if you ever follow me on Instagram, like fuck, I am thanking you for following me. Like fuck, I am sliding in saying, hey girl, what do you want? I'm so glad you're here. I'd rather vomit on myself than do that. That's so off brand. I don't have time for that. I don't want to be instant BFFs with everyone. I am a Virgo. I am discerning. Now, if you want to do that, go for your fucking life. I can't think of anything worse personally. And I know everyone's like, but you can use ManyChat. I don't want to use a fucking robot for that shit. I don't care. You know what I want? I want people to just take their own time. And then when I see that they are engaged enough, I will reach out. If they reach out to me, I will respond back. And I will be proactive where I feel like that there is a really good client fit, or if I am seeing within their actions in my business, this is where email is incredible because you can see all of these little behavioral actions, I'll then reach out to them. And if this is something where if you do not have your business infrastructure working for you, if you do not have email marketing helping you scale, one, why are you not in Give Good Email? Join immediately. But this makes it so simple, okay? Because I can even think now, right? Like knowing what we want to work towards in the next 12 months and how I want my business to look next year. If you were to say to me, could you find 20 leads within your business that could join Business Bang? I would say yes. And the first thing I would do is go and I would look in my email marketing software. And it would highlight for me my warm and my hot leads for me to proactively pitch to or organize a call or say, hey, you should join Business Bang. And the cool thing is this is never wasted. It's like the work that you do on email, if you keep that up, it's literally like having a list of people to go to where you can go and get your next sale from. So that has been something that has worked so well. Doing my sales and conversion events, if you have come along to an event, you know I do a really soft call to action because I believe that the best sales process initially is giving you so much value and giving you wins and giving you light bulb moments ahead of time. I don't need to do a whole hour-long sales pitch. I am good enough that I can just do a solid, quick follow-up of, hey, you should buy this, and people say yes. I don't need to have you on Zoom for an hour selling to you. My whole business sells to you. My content sells to you. My podcast sells to you. Even if you think that it doesn't, it does. And the reason it sells to you is because I continually give you good content, good advisory, and you get a good experience. And when we have that, when someone comes and says, hey, you should work with me, you're like, yes, sure. I don't need to spend an hour convincing you. So this is where for you, if you're like, I feel like that I'm just needing to convince people, I want you to go back to that the visibility piece of your goals section and ask yourself then, where do you need to give more value and really position people so they are primed for the sale? What do you need to give them? Do you need to make them problem aware? Do you need to highlight a new future? Like, what do you actually need to give these people? Doing that makes the sale really easy. And that is really how like my whole goals process looked, okay? So I knew the goal, $1 million. I knew what I was focusing on, Business Bang and Give Good Email and consulting. I knew how I was showing up for my visibility. I was doing TikTok, Instagram, and the podcast. And then I knew how I was selling. I was going to do my events, which I guess will fall into the previous category. email marketing. And I was either automating the sales through my automations or I was using my email data to proactively follow people up. When I'm following people up, I would call this closing. It's me saying, hey, you should buy this, and them saying, yes, okay, send me the payment link. It's literally that simple. So that worked really, really well. Now, in doing that, I know this sounds simple, and it is. Business plans that work are simple. They are simple to understand. What is complex, though, are humans. And it is us managing our mindset and getting out of our own way. And sometimes in business, we are going to have to do things that we don't particularly want to do. We are going to have to battle our own mindset, and we are going to have to show up and be consistent. Like, what is that saying? Follow the plan, not your mood. There have been so many times, especially over these last 2 months, where I've had a few health dramas with my teeth. I had some really stressful dental work last week, and I was not good. And I had to take myself home and I was in bed. And because I knew that we had a launch coming up, and actually we're in the fucking launch, I'm literally in bed in the middle of the day, so not feeling well. I felt like I was coming down off drugs from all of the anesthetic that they'd given me. And I still had to work. And I know that may be conflicting around me saying, you get to pick your own hours and you get to do this. You can do that, but there are still times when your business needs you to show up. And right now, my business needs me. And this has involved late nights. It's involved working when I don't maybe want to work. It has involved saying no to things. And it has involved a lot of me managing my mindset and showing up and being really consistent. And where I've seen this the most is probably with the podcast and showing up and being really consistent with the podcast. The reason that this has been hard is because I was batch recording these. I was going away. And I basically had to be on. So I was going away and doing 6 to 8 episodes at a time. And when I was recording this, I found myself being like, you have nothing to say. Let's go plan. And I was like, no, ramble. Good shit leaves your mouth continually. You can edit this later. If you have gotten to this point, you've arrived at the hotel and you've been disorganized, we're not going to be indulgent and say, let's sit down and plan. Just get some words on some paper, which is what I've done now. Get some words on some paper. Cool. Practice showing up. Practice getting your message out there. And I told myself that I am going to be in future, I'm going to be put on the spot and I'm going to have opportunities that come at me, and I need to practice speaking on the spot and formulating my own, presenting my own body of work in a way where people can understand it and it's digestible. So I saw this as me kind of practicing what my future self would need. So anytime you feel like you don't want to do something or it's not the right time, you are fucking it up for your future self. Because I don't ever want to lose an opportunity because someone's like, hey, we need a full day training event tomorrow and it's this much money with this many people. And I'm like, I don't know if I can do it because I'm not prepared. Every time I show up and I make myself show up and I have to pull content out my ass or I have to pull transformation out or anything like that, I see this as preparing for future Peter and work that she will need to do. So as we wrap up, I've just got some notes that I want to talk about. Okay, point number 1, sales comes before the service. This is so important. If you cannot sell, you do not have a business. And I don't care if you are the best at what you do and if someone else is terrible, where they probably have a leg up on you is they are incredible at sales. So if you are the best at what you do, you know you can change lives. It is up to you to become the best salesperson and advocate for your business. It is up to you to sell, and you have to sell every day. And if you don't want to be on, you don't want to sell every day, guess what you need? You need email marketing. You need to have a system that is going to sell for you. Yes, you can use ads, but of course you're going to have to pay for that ad spend. Personally, I would rather have one cost, which is my email software, keep people behind the scenes. And then if the emails don't close them, guess what? I've got all of these hot leads identified that I can go and close in person. So that's point number 1. Point number 2, it is up for you as the entrepreneur to set the vision of where you're going and what your future looks like. And if you do not know how to do that, outsource that, work with someone, get them to help you see the vision as well. This is your one life and it's happening right now. And you can limit yourself and think as small as you want, but you don't get a do-over. And I see this all the time when I can see the exceptional future that I could have in the exceptional business and all the people that I could help. I'm like, I need lipstick for this. I'm like, I want that now. Oh my God, I love these lipsticks. They always melt. I'm like, I want that now. I want all of that now. So That's like a huge thing, okay? Like see the vision, see the potential, see the future, and put that into place. Don't minimize yourself. Don't think small. And what is so awesome is when you are busy, don't delay things happening. Don't be like, I've got a lot going on. It's the end of the year. There's this. Fuck it. How cool would it be to still have all of that and still thrive and still meet your goals? How cool would that be? No one said that you needed a complete clear schedule for you to get your goals and what you want. In your head, you think that you need all of this blank space. You don't. You just need to set the intention and you need to get the work and you need to have the action. Point number 3, you need to get really clear if you have the right business model. If you are trying to make your big goals happen from shifting really small units, and if you don't really want to post a lot of content and you don't really want to post a lot of call to actions, this is probably going to be reflected in you not meeting your income goals. Can you see how that makes sense? It's like if you have a huge fucking audience, you have 100,000 followers on Instagram, and you put out a call to action and you're like, oh my God, yay, they just bought, I made $20,000 of this like $50 product. Sure. But if you are trying to make $20,000 off a $50 product with an audience of 200, that is going to be near impossible. I'm not saying you can't do it, but you are going to have to work a whole lot more compared to you being like, you know what, why the fuck am I flogging this cheap shit? I'm an expert. I want to sell $2,000 products. I want to sell $20,000 products. Now, that is up to you to determine if you are at a skill level to deliver that transformation. We don't need more people that are out there kind of selling shit that they actually can't deliver on. So again, that's up to you to develop that. But you need to get really clear on what is the kind of business model you want. For me, I would rather have less clients, more long-term relationships. The reason I love this is because I get to know my client's business intimately. So when they come to me and they're like, shit, what do? I know their business so well, I can give them immediate feedback. And this is why you'll hear my clients say sometimes, oh my God, that advice, like you just helped me in 2 minutes. The reason I can help them in 2 minutes is because I know their business so well, because I feel like that I work in their business with them. So for a lot of you, your next income goal and where you are going next is probably going to be shifting into your consulting era or shifting into something where you are selling higher transformation packages that come with a higher dollar value. This depends on a variety of different factors, but if you are feeling the pull to that, do that. What I will say is if you want to move in that area, you are going to need to obviously have the knowledge to do it. You're going to need to have the infrastructure. So you're going to have the assets as well on the personal brand. So a sexy website, beautiful photos. You want people to look at your brand and be like, yes, this makes sense that they charge this, or yes, I can see them positioned in this lineup of people. The next thing, sometimes in business, you are going to take like 2 steps back for you to just slingshot yourself forward. And that's what I did having time off and restructuring my business. So I was okay to have a dip in my income in a couple of months as I worked on creating things, knowing that it was going to really benefit me moving forward. And that's what happened. I had 3 months with no clients. We did have a little give good email sale in there. But for me, I was just like working on my business. And in January of this year, I ended up having a $65,000 sales month. And that was I'm going to take 2 steps back strategically so that I can slingshot myself forward. So I want to say, do not kid yourself thinking that if you're planning that you're doing that. You have to know yourself. And if you're like, I know that I'm not going to do that. Like for me, I was relentless. I was selling. I showed up and I positioned and postured myself. So for you, maybe you're like, I'm not going to give myself ages. I'm not going to give myself 3 months. I'm going to give myself a week. If I know that me not having a website is holding me back, or if me, promoting my shit website that's not selling me is holding me back, it is up to me to fix that. Do not have this as a long drawn out process. Get it done, get it fixed. Get a deadline in the calendar of like when you're going to get this done by. So anyway, we may wrap it up here. Hopefully there was some gold in here. But what I want to say is my next move in business and what this looks like is I am still showing up as $1 Million Peter. I have proof that this can work. And what's even cooler is I said to myself that now is not the time to slow down. I created a goal for myself for the next 8 weeks that I am really going to push. And what's really cool about that, right? I want you to remember this, is the work that you do now, even if it does not pay off now, will set up Q1. So don't forget about next year. Do not forget about getting yourself in a position where you can just walk into next year with sales. So if you want to have the best year ever next year, the foundation of that is starting now. And the foundation of that is all of the work that you did this year. And if you're like, I did no fucking work, okay, cool. I want you to really make sure that you are getting your shit sorted so that you can go into next year and you feel like that everything is working for you. I have so many assets that you can use, if you haven't already, or maybe you want to go through it again, go and do my hot business audit, see what is letting your business down. If you haven't worked with me and you want a sexy little taste, buy my $35 offer. Or if you know that you are like, I want your advisory and I want you to upskill me and make me the best entrepreneur that I can be, join Business Bang. I've got an exceptional business owner that's starting in mid-December, and I'm obsessed with this because, I love that she's just like, no, I want to start. This works for me. People, like, I can tell she's going to win. And the reason I can tell she's going to win is because most people would wait until January. What you got to remember here is most people aren't successful. When you look at the average business owner, do you want to be the average business owner? If you want to be an exceptional business owner, if you want to be the 1%, how does the 1% move? They make their plan and they schedule it for like the most random of time. Random to the average business owner, but not random to the exceptional 1%. So if you want to be the 1%, you have your call to action. I'm going to link Business Bang. I want you to fill in an application and I want you to make this work and work with me. I will run alongside you. We will get your goals. And fuck, I am so excited. Hot stuff. I'm going to leave this here. Hopefully there was some goodness in this episode. At least, if not, I hope that you are feeling inspired and you're just excited. I love this. I love you. I love that coat season has come back for, I don't know, a day. I got my big fluffy black coat on. I love you more than that. I love you more than the fact there's no one in the office today. It is so nice when it's just quiet and there's no one here. It is good. It is lush. I love you more than that. I've got a Business Bang call in 49 minutes. So I am going to pack my shit up and I'm going to go downstairs. I'm going to get a cheeky little decaf. I'm going to have some water. I'm going to shake my tits and I'm going to get myself in a really good mood, even better mood than I am now to do that call. So I love you more than that. I love you more than my beautiful mom. We went out and we had breakfast this morning. That was really cute. And my little brother, my little fur baby brother, Milo, he's so cute. So I love you more than that. I love you more than the fact that I'm feeling hopeful and optimistic for the future. That is like a really good feeling. I love you more than being back on track. I feel like I kind of fell off and I stalled with like me being healthy and like my weight loss, but I've lost 0.5 kilo and that feels really good. So again, I'm going to keep pushing through for that. What else do I love you more than? I've started watching a TV show. I don't know if it's going to be good or not, but like I was at Mum's yesterday and we put on Sirens. So I love you more than knowing that I've got something to look forward to. I don't know if the show is going to be good. I don't know if it's going to be bad, but I love you more than the fact that I'm excited to watch episode 2. So let's hope that it doesn't fall flat. One thing I will say is I hate how like TV shows have kind of become like these long drawn out movies. Like I loved how like back in the day you would have like 8 or 10 seasons of a TV show. And now it's like sometimes you get 1 or 2 seasons. Like it feels like a very long movie. So I don't love that. Oh my gosh, I do love you more than. So Mum and I have started, when we watch a movie, we've started watching movies that didn't do too well at the box office, that were like box office flops. And there was a movie we watched the other day. I think it was called Vamps. And it's so interesting because it had like Alicia Silverstone in it, Sigourney Weaver, and I see her face. Is it, she was Jane from Breaking Bad. So we were watching that. I think it only made like less than $4,000 at the box office. I'm like, how the fuck did this movie make less than $4,000 at the box office when it has all of these amazing stars in it? This makes no sense to me. And Mum and I, we love watching that. So we love watching like the quote unquote box office flops. And for me, what's been really cool is seeing how, oh my gosh, isn't it so interesting that this was a flop and it had all these stars, and how I've had launches and I made more money than that. So that has been like, I think, good for the mindset as well. Anyway, hot stuff, I'm going to leave this here. I love this. I love you. And I will see you on the next episode. Mwah.